Hey, how you doing, man?
Doing good. It's good to talk to you again.
Nice to talk to you as well, my friend. Thanks for taking the time.
Oh, absolutely. There's always have time for Michael Sweet, man. I feel like we do. I feel like we're doing this like every couple of years now between the Striper stuff and your solo stuff. So it's a good rotation. I love it, man. It's.
I think we are doing that, and the only thing I get fearful of is, burning people out on Michael Sweet. So doing too much, and people are like, I don't want to talk to that guy anymore. I've talked to him 10 times, but I hope that never happens.
I don't see how that's even possible, man. I mean, and the new album comes out next week. I feel like ever since you started doing, solo stuff pretty much full time again and really focusing on that when Striper's, taking a rest. You've been getting heavier and heavier and heavier with every solo album you do. From Suicide to One Sided War to this one with 10. This is probably the heaviest solo material we've heard from you so far in a lot of ways.
There's two reasons for that. One reason is the fact that for the album, the Striper album, No More Hell to Pay, I went back to the old catalog and revisited it and started really listening to those songs and the production and the style and the guitar tones and everything. And I wanted to come back full circle to our roots because a lot of fans over the years have been asking for that. So we really tried to do that with No More Hell to Pay.
Right.
And then from that point on, continued to do that. The other reason is I've gotten tired of hearing all the comments over the years that, Striper's heavy, Michael's not.
Right.
And not that matters. It doesn't matter.
Right.
Because I pretty much do what I want to do on solo albums, and I'll continue to do that.
Right.
But I wanted to, with One Sided War and 10, kind of make my case and prove a point that I can get just as heavy with or without Striper.
Right. And
Striper's got nothing to do with it, with being heavy, for Michael Sweet anyway.
Right. Does that kind of go back to the first few solo albums with Real and the Self-Titled, where they weren't as heavy as, and those are, especially the Self-Titled is one of my favorite albums of all time. I still listen to it now, but it wasn't as heavy as you could have gone, and then Truth got heavier. But then you did a couple albums in between with like Touched and stuff that weren't heavy at all.
Yeah, Truth got heavier, but it was still very eclectic and a different kind of heavy.
Yeah.
And very diverse, and I don't want to say all over the map, but it kind of was all over the map, right?
Yeah.
And that's cool. I love doing that. The first album was more arena rock, AOR, radio rock, and that I love that stuff too.
Right.
Some of my favorite bands of all time. Def Leppard and Bryan Adams, and I love that stuff.
Sure.
Love it. And so there's that side of me, but just lately I've been in a heavier mode. Now, does that mean that I'm never going to revisit albums like the first solo album? Absolutely not.
Right.
I'll come around full circle with that again. I'll do something like that. I might do something really easy listening at some point.
Sure.
I just like to explore all different sides and angles of myself and my heart and my creativity. So I'll do whatever I need to do at the time.
Right, and that's the point of doing solo stuff too. Is you don't really want to do the same thing you're doing with Striper or other artists. Don't want to do the same thing they're doing with the band that they're in when they do solo. It's kind of your opportunity to explore areas that you don't really get to go down, and you do a great job with the solo stuff, with your solo stuff.
Well, I will say this, in being honest here. I mean, One Sided War and 10 are certainly more in line with the Striper stuff.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
They're more in that shed, so to speak, in that vein, and that's all good. But I still try to take it in a little bit of a different direction and bringing in guest players and guest vocalists and trying to do little different things here and there. But you know what? I don't also mind the card of in hearing comments that, hey, it sounds like Striper. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
So I don't mind that. But yeah, I had fun making these albums, man, and getting my heavy on and getting my heavy out, and it was a real blast.
And you do it right away with this one too. That scream at the very beginning of Best Part of Me is just like gives you chills, man.
Now you know how I got that. I'll tell you how I achieved that.
How?
It just so happens I went downstairs in my studio and I opened up the blinds and I can see outside the backyard and the trees and everything. And I turned on the recorder and I got all ready, started warming up, and just perfect timing. Right at that moment when it got to that point in the song, our lawn service guys were chopping up a shrub they weren't supposed to be.
Right.
And I screamed right at that moment perfectly. Yeah, I'm kidding. I'm only kidding.
I love
you know
it.
What? I don't know where I was going with that. I have no idea. But I still enjoy hitting some of the high notes. I can't hit them like I used to. I don't know that people necessarily want me to. I think some people are getting kind of tired of them. But, I choose my battles, and I'll hit one every now and then, and that's one.
Right. You kind of have to, kind of pick and choose, certain spots of certain songs. We don't really need it at this part, but this part could really use it. Kind of be a little bit more, methodical with where it goes in at.
Exactly. Now, going back in the day, sometimes I wouldn't even think about that. I just do them wherever. And like on the album Against the Law, there's 3 and 4 or 5 screams in every song.
Yeah.
It's constant screaming, which is fine. Yeah. But it just makes it more difficult to pull off and achieve live.
Well, and it means more when there's less of it, because there's certain songs like on this one, or Take It to the Cross, where it's we almost appreciate it more because it's we know it's coming, there it is, it's here, But I was going to ask, with this one, with the last record, you had this very, very, basically really star-studded and very strong personnel all the way through the record with Ethan and Joel and Will. Yep. This record, they're on the record, but you kind of went the same route you did with I'm Not Your Suicide, with a lot of guest performers and guest musicians and stuff.
I went even more so, and I just figured, people ask me, why did you do that? And the question I get asked most often when I do something like that is, why? Because you're a guitar player. Why didn't you just play all the guitars?
Right.
And I am a guitar player. I'm a guitar player first and foremost, before I am a singer.
Sure.
I love playing guitar, but the reason why I wanted to bring in so many different guests on this album was to kind of take it away from, make it a little less Stryper.
Gotcha.
Because if I'm playing all the solos, it's going to sound more Stryper-ish. It's just going to.
Bring in some guys with a different style so it sounds different.
Absolutely.
Gotcha.
Take it to a different place. And that's what each individual guy did.
Yeah, they did.
Then also, I love having different guests on my albums. These guys are my friends, the guys I listen to and watch on YouTube late at night, the guys I admire.
Right.
And I love showcasing their talents and their abilities on my album, because it's just a great opportunity to say, hey, world, listen to this guy if you haven't heard of him.
Right.
Listen to Andy James. I mean, I'm sure everybody's heard of Gus G and Jeff Loomis and all these guys are in big established bands, but Andy James he's got a lot of followers too, but I mean, some people might not have heard of Andy or might not have heard of Marzi Montazari.
True.
And it's just a great, or Ian Raposa or Mike Kerr of Firstborn. It's a great opportunity for me to say, hey, world, listen to these guys.
Right. And did you have certain songs, when you brought them in, were the songs, for the most part, already, those guitar parts, already written, and you had them in mind when they came out, or did you bring them in and then the songs started to take shape a little bit?
The songs were already written. I played all the rhythm guitars and the ear candy guitars on the album. The only thing I didn't play was all the solos. There's a different soloist on every song. I'm playing the solo on, I'm trying to think of the name of the ballad. Why can I not think of the name of the ballad? Let It Be Love. Thank you.
Yes.
Let It Be Love. I'm playing the solo on that. But all the songs, as I was writing the songs with this concept in mind, I was thinking of individual players. Like when I was writing and working on Lay It Down, instantly I was thinking of Marzi. Marzi will be perfect on this song. Absolutely. Gus G, when I was writing Now or Never, I had the Aussie parts in mind, and I was thinking, oh man, this would be perfect for Gus. So I was thinking of each individual player as I was writing each song, and then once the songs were tracked, the basic tracks were recorded, I sent those off to the guys. They recorded their parts, sent them back, and there you go. It was really easy peasy.
Gotcha. And speaking of Now or Never, that I've highlighted what my favorite songs are. Now or Never is
I'm
definitely
curious. Yes.
one of
Okay,
them.
so Now or Never. That's one of them.
Never Alone. Absolutely love Never Alone. Let It Be
so
Love.
All the songs with Never in the title.
I'll never have a song I don't like, but dude, Let It Be Love. I mean, I feel like that song stands up with some of the other ballads you've written, solo and Striper.
Yeah.
Really takes me back to Forever Yours or Tomorrow Tonight, stuff like that.
I agree.
Love that song.
That's a song. Not that more recent ballads aren't good.
Right.
But you're always as a writer trying to achieve the one.
Yeah.
The song that makes people go, wow, this is the best thing you've ever written.
Right.
At least I am. I'm always trying to achieve that and outdo myself and make things better. So that song, Let It Be Love, that to me takes me back to the ballads of the 80s.
Yeah, it really does.
It's on that level. Like if this was 1986, I think that'd be a top 20 smash.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
But I don't know because we don't live in the 80s anymore.
Right.
But I think it's a strong song. It's got something special to it, you know?
That and Shine. That song stands out as well. I absolutely love that one.
Oh, good, man.
It was 1 a.m. this morning, and I was just sitting there with the earbuds in, listening to the record again, and I was just like, yeah, it's just.
You've got good taste, man. And I'm not just saying this, but those two songs, Let It Be Love and Shine, those are two of my favorites on the album.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
they really are.
Yeah.
And I like Now or Never too. I love that track. There's something about that. Now, will everyone else love it? I don't know. We're going to find out. But everyone has their favorites. There's the heavy group of people.
Yeah.
That love Son of Man and Better Part of Me, and they'll sneer at Let It Be Love.
Yeah, but those are the heavy purists, where if it's metal, it can only be heavy.
I know.
Where they forget that honestly is what is one of your biggest hits, But
I know, man.
But I love ballads, and I love when people when bands do acoustic versions of their heavier songs, because
me too.
Me
too. I love it. I love it, and you can't deny the fact if it's a good song, it's a good song. I don't care if it's a jazz song, if it's a country song, a ballad, a metal track. Is it good? Is it a good song?
Exactly.
Does it touch your heart? Does it move your soul? That's what matters.
Yeah, and 10 years ago, I was still like, if it's not heavy, it's not good. And now I was like, no, Lady Gaga was a great concert, So it's
absolutely. Lady Gaga's amazing. And
good music,
you have
good
to be
music,
able
man.
You got to be able to recognize talent.
Yeah, exactly.
And people who write and perform great songs. And there's so many all across the board, different genres. It doesn't matter. Right.
And Son of Man, you just released that on social media on Facebook, just last week or earlier this week, I think it was. You put the thing out. Do you guys want to hear it? And obviously the fans wanted to hear it, but I mean, what is it about that song that you and Frontiers were like, maybe we should release that one next?
Well, that was one that I definitely wanted to release, and the reason why is because of the way it makes me feel when I hear it. It makes the hairs on my arms stand on end. Mm-hmm. It's got what I like to call an anointing.
Okay.
It just kind of moves me, and it's powerful. I hear the music and the lyric, and I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
And then you got Todd LaTorre on it, who's one of the best vocalists going right now. And then you got Andy James, who's one of the greatest guitar players going right now. Yeah. So you can't lose with that track.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and it's a hell of a way to end the record too. I mean, it's just, I mean, it may be a bonus track, but like that could have easily been one of the mains. I mean, I was wondering that same thing. Yeah.
I don't know why the label called it a bonus track.
Right.
It was never, in my opinion, a bonus track. Never was, never will be. I think they just put that on there just to make people go, "Oh, wow, bonus tracks." But it's really not a bonus track.
And it's on every version of the record too, I think. So I don't know if it is. I don't think it can be a bonus track if it's on every version of the record. So,
exactly.
You know.
And the thing I like to do with Striper albums, if you notice lately, and with Michael Sweet albums, if you notice lately, is I like to bookend all the books in between. So I like to start with something that makes you go, whoa, and I like to end with something that makes you go, whoa.
Yep.
And that's why I started with Better Part of Me and ended with Son of Man, and then everything in between are all the nice books that you want to read, you know?
Oh, that makes sense. Because then when the record's over, you're like, well, let's listen to it again.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
So
that's what I try to do.
That makes sense. And unfortunately for my boss, or maybe not unfortunately, but she's listening to the record all day today. So
really?
She doesn't know it yet, but she's gonna.
Uh-oh. That could be bad. That could be enjoyable or painful.
Yeah, some days she's like, what in the heck are you listening to? It's like, good stuff. Just listen. Just let it soak in. It's good. Just watch.
Yes.
So I mean, we've talked about some of the songs that obviously that we think people are going to fall in love with. But is there any song on this record that you think could be a dark horse that people may not necessarily give a chance to at first, but once they really sink their teeth into it, they'll really fall in love with this?
I think the two that we talked about already that haven't been released.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Let It Be Love and Now or Never. But I think even more specifically, Let It Be Love. There's something about that song, and I've sent the album out to a number of people in the camp.
Right.
And everyone comes back with, wow, that song, Let It Be Love. I don't know what it is, but it's the same reaction. And that's usually a good sign. So I think that's when the album is released, I think that's going to be a song that everyone's going to talk about.
Yeah, I think so too, for sure.
I just have a feeling about it. I really do.
And I've been wanting to ask, I know, because in between Striper sets, even when Striper's kind of out on the road, you do a lot of solo gigs now still, and and they're mainly, you know, acoustic at night with type shows, stuff like that. Have you ever thought about bringing back the electric solo shows, or are those really now your kind of way to kind of slow it down and have a little bit of, you know, softer, quiet, and just go a different pace when Striper's not going strong?
A little bit of both. I mean, it is a way to slow it down, and I do enjoy going out, the simplicity of it. I really enjoy going out with just a guitar and going on a stage and having that one-on-one vibe in the venue with people. I love it.
Right.
But I do want to go out and showcase the electric Michael Sweet solo side that hasn't been done since 2001.
Right.
I mean, that's a long time. That's the last time I played with the band. And, you know, I've got to put together a killer band and go out and do some shows because there's so many songs that need to be heard live, heard and seen, and that fans want. And I think it'd be a good turnout.
Yeah, and maybe next year when it's 25 years from or maybe it is this year, it's 25 years since the first solo record came out. I think this year it came out in like 94, I think. So
it came out in 94, man. Yeah, no, it's definitely next year. We're working on putting together select cities, select dates, very special dates.
Right.
Yeah, I'm going to say at least 10, but I would say more than that. I would think more in the 16 to 20 range. Go out and hit New York City and Chicago and, you know, Los Angeles and Boston and, you know, so all the big cities throughout the country.
Sure.
And put together a killer band and go blow people's minds. I'm going to do that.
I love the sound of that. I love it, and I will be there. I don't care if I have to drive to L.A. from Indianapolis. I'll do it. I don't care.
Oh yeah, no. It's gonna happen, and it's gonna happen next year.
Awesome.
We are already talking about it, working on it, and the thing that'll be different about this set, and this might be a good thing or a bad thing, but this is how it's going to go down. There's not going to be a lot of Stryper songs in the set.
Okay. Well,
and when I say not a lot, maybe 3 or 4
right
in the set, but it's going to be primarily solo songs.
Well, I mean, you have enough records out and so much material and a lot of it that hasn't been heard live in so long that you don't need to do the Stryper stuff live for the most part if you're doing a full solo show.
Exactly. I mean, Stryper tours that stuff every year, and it gets its fair shake. But man, the whole purpose and point of a tour like this, of these shows, would be to go out and perform these solo songs live, which has never been done.
Right.
At least some of the more recent solo songs, they've never been played live.